Well, welcome viewers, and welcome Mr. Barry Peatling for the Barry Peatling Sports Show.
Variety show today too, Colin. Yeah, welcome to all my viewers in the world, around the world and in the States, and all my new viewers the last few weeks have been tuning in.
Yeah.
Bit of variety today.
So we've got a lot to get through, different this and that, and the sports. We're waiting for the test result or test to start this
Thursday.
week.
Yeah, I've something to say about that.
On Thursday, we know that the Cricket Australia had England just melting out at the what do you call it, the Alice Springs. Just sent them out there for a few days.
Put them up in the oven for a while.
Put the roaster on. They didn't bowl any of their main bowlers apart from
20 took 4 wickets, but that was against some ordinary competition. But anyway.
Yeah. So we like to see what's going to happen this week. There's a lot of talk, a lot of this and that.
Well, you're going to do this new revitalisation for this test. We'll see anyway. I don't think so.
A lot of draft picks. They picked up. There was some news about that fellow named Lloyd who going to Richmond. You've been following him.
I followed him in the last fight. He was a superstar at Mount Eliza. Then he went to Frankston and he's killed him in there, and now he's been picked up with the Tigers. Half-forward flanker. Yeah,
so you picked him. You've been talking him up over the last year or so.
Yeah, I said he'd get picked up in the draft. He's a very good footballer.
He's like not a super tall forward.
5'10".
5'10", okay, so he's
6 goals.
Medium, small forward.
Takes a big mark. He is a Tigers supporters. Look out for Sam. I know what number he is, but he was number 22 for me.
I'll probably be about number 50 or something.
I don't know. They might give him an ex-player's number, and what was Robin Nahar's number? He was 22, wasn't he?
Maybe. Anyway, let's get into the Rugby
League, yes.
World Cup.
I watched that Saturday night, or Sunday night, whatever the final was.
You were there live?
I was sitting there live, and it was the Kiwis have been renowned for the last 30 years. They've been so dominant in that competition.
No.
Oh, they won more trophies and more World Cups than anybody else.
I think they've won one.
No, they haven't. They won a lot. Anyway,
they win the rugby.
Well, I'm talking about rugby.
No, this is Rugby League.
Rugby League, yeah.
The All Blacks.
Union, mate.
The All Blacks. That wasn't Rugby Union.
This is Rugby League. I know.
That's
Billy
right.
Slater. Yeah.
But
the Rugby Australia done right. They won on Saturday night too. They beat Wales. That wasn't the World Cup.
No, that wasn't the World Cup. But the World Cup, did they just beat them a little bit?
34-2.
So smashing.
As I said in my headline, destroys, and it was just poetry in motion. But to watch Billy Slater and Jonathan Thurston and Ricky Morris, Brett Morris and Cam Smith, they got some superstars on their side. Because
you know what happened last World Cup, which was very interesting. Australia played New Zealand as well.
Yeah, they got beaten.
And it was a humiliating loss because Australia were favourites by a mile, and New Zealand beat them. This time they weren't going to let that happen.
No, they just bashed them.
What about your mate Billy Slater?
I'll tell you something about Billy Slater. I've been following him. I don't follow rugby league much at all, but I remember
you keep an eye on it.
I watch when he's playing, but I remember years and years ago I used to love watching Wally Lewis and Alvy Langer playing together. But I'm not a rugby league fan, Colin. But that game, and Billy Slater, he's really one of the best sportsmen. Got the most sportsman's talent in Australia at the moment. He could play Australian rules.
You reckon?
For sure.
Absolutely.
He's a dasher.
A lot of players have tried and haven't really.
No, but he's just so naturally. He's quick and he's tough and he can kick the ball, and he took a fantastic mark when he got that try. One of the most
dominant rugby union players now is Israel Folau. He is dominating. He became World Player of the Year or something like that. Australian rules didn't.
But he wasn't built for Australian rules. He's built for rugby because he's a big man. Yeah. But Billy Slater's 5'10", and now he's great to watch.
All right, Barry. Well, who's starting this Rugby League Cup final?
Colin, it was a pretty fair sort of a team. Great team effort, but I do think that Jonathan Thurston, he got the man of the match, and Brett Morris, he knocked a fence over. He got 2 or 3 tries, and Cameron Smith, a captain, Cooper Cronk, and Jared Haynes, he got nearly KO too, but he come back in the last. They were the stars, but there was a pretty good team effort on that side because they just bashed them down. They just knocked them over
They weren't going to be surprised this time around.
No, I think they were shell shocked, Kiwis, because at the last 20 minutes it was I don't know whether they sort of stopped running, but it was they just completely took over Australia. It was a very, very good effort, and they'll be still celebrating, Colin.
Very good. So that was the Rugby League
It was worth watching. And I'm not a Rugby League fan, Colin, I told you.
Well, worth watching.
But Billy Slater.
Billy Slater.
You're a superstar, mate.
Now let's get on to the golf. It was a bit of an upset win. Just give the viewers the results, I guess.
Well, Adam Scott, I nearly had a bit of money on him the night before. It was $2.10 and he was 4 strokes in front. I couldn't believe the odds, but...
That's pretty short.
No, it was 4 strokes in front, for God's sake. I mean, but anyway, I didn't back him, but I tuned in last night. I didn't watch much of the golf, but he's got beaten on the last hole by Rory McIlroy. So he's lost by one, done a Greg Norman. Norman, yeah, but...
so what
he's number 2 in the world now.
Number 2, yeah. What stood out to you?
This fella, this young kid, I mean, I remember his father who played Davis Cup tennis, Ray Ruffles, back in the 70s, and his son, Ryan Ruffles, made the cut on Saturday. He had a 67 on Saturday. He was 2 over on Friday, but I reckon there'd have to be nearly a world record for the youngest player to make the cut in an Australian Open. You can check that out on your little statistics and whatever.
Okay, maybe.
I reckon it would have to be.
How old was he?
15.
15.
I mean, 15. Well, that's pretty young, isn't it? I mean, he's had a 67 Royal Melbourne.
Yeah, I was still, still at school.
I was playing golf when I was 11 or 12. I broke 40 at Albert Park one day when I was 12. What's going on there?
Bit of a truck going on. Sorry, viewers.
This kid, Ryan Ruffles, look, he's got a... I don't know whether just one flash in the pan, but he had a couple of rounds with Adam Scott and Rory McIlroy last week, and they said he's going to be a star. What
sometimes happens is they go on their familiar courses, whether they can go on other courses and do it.
Well, Royal Melbourne was one of the toughest courses in Australia, and he's done it. I mean, I read, I said, he's 50, must be something wrong with his birth certificate. It must be a bit of a...
He looked young.
He's a marvel. So look out for Ryan. Well done, Ryan.
Well done.
Keep it up.
So that's the golf. We covered a bit of golf there. Now, let's turn our attention to the Test cricket.
Yeah.
Let's turn our attention to the Test cricket.
So
it's going to be Adelaide. It's going to be it's a drop-in pitch for the first time. So
that won't make a difference.
So they're saying it might be a little bit just flat and easy for batting.
Well, I don't know about flat. I think I might have a bit of sting in it in the first couple of days. But
that's what the experts are saying. The groundsman.
Well, I'm an expert too.
Well, the groundsman.
I'm an expert there too. But they used to do that at the MCG years ago.
Yeah, well, they still do. I think they do.
No, not now. I don't think so. They used to do it at Waverley when they were playing.
Yeah, they drop in a square. Now.
They still do it now, do they?
Yeah, they drop in a whole square, and then they...
You sure?
Yeah, they drop in the square, and then they cultivate that square. They dig a big hole, and they drop in about 10 pitches.
If we were playing on the Chelsea cricket ground on Saturday, look out, lighting's on.
That's alright, keep on going.
If we were playing on the Chelsea cricket ground, they'd still win by an innings in a day.
Yeah, so what's your prediction then?
They'll win. There might even be a day to spare here too.
You reckon?
Yeah, I reckon. If we win the toss, make about 500. And get them out in a couple of days, 3 days.
I think it's going to go all 5 days.
Well, that's your prediction.
My prediction?
My prediction, if there's no rain, I reckon, I don't know what the forecast over there next week, so that...
pretty dry.
Dry, it's always dry. And the heat will kill them.
Pretty dry.
Kill the palms.
There's going to be a little bit they're going to get a little bit of drizzle on Tuesday, Wednesday, but the game doesn't start till Thursday. So it's going to be fining up.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, whatever it is, well, if it rains, it might go the 5 days, but I really do think that if we can get in first, it's a little bit of an if, but if we bat first, I reckon we'll go 4 days.
So there we go. Barry's prediction within 4 days.
Australia.
My prediction: Australia winning as well. But
Warren will make about 180.
A little bit tougher.
Hear that? Warren will make about 180.
So we did a bit of the sports coverage there. Now, before we say your Cheerios, Barry, you've got some comments you want to give about the boss.
The boss. Well, I'm telling you,
Bruce Springsteen.
I happened to be watching him at the scene. It was about 10:30 last, and I looked at the TV guy, and I said, Bruce Springsteen. So I tuned in, but I reckon he is. I seen him a few years ago on live in concert. He would have to be just about the best solo performer in the world at the moment. And I reckon he'll run around second to Elvis as the best ever. This fella is unbelievable. A couple of things he done last night. It was after the show. It went for about an hour and a half, this documentary, but it was in the streets with all the ordinary people, And he walks up to this fellow, he was busking, he's playing his guitar, and the guitar, when he got the bus, he said, "Well, do you want to join in, Bruce?" "What do you think he does?" He's brought the other fellow, his mate's other guitar, and he's singing "I'm on Fire." And all the people would come around, and he was just like me walking down the street.
Like a normal person.
And he's playing and he's singing, and he said, "Oh, you're fat." And that's the fact, all the concerts he has, they're all sold out. There's millions watching. So he's just a good fella, and he's a fantastic singer. You've seen him.
Yeah.
What do you think of him?
I like him. He's good.
Oh, and this is a very big statement to make, but I do think he's the second biggest best solo entertainer I've ever seen. Only second to Elvis.
He wrote that song for Manfred Mann.
Blinded by the Light.
Blinded by the Light.
Don't know why he didn't sing it himself.
Yeah. He does a version of it. I heard him sing it.
Top song, that.
Very good song.
But to watch him, and he's such look, all these big superstars, they've got that big egos. They don't want to let everybody talk to them or say hello. He just walks up to the people, and and on this documentary, all the people are saying, "Oh, I met him in the street and he said hello," and all that. That's what sort of fellow he's not up himself. Good. Well done, Bruce Springsteen. Keep it going. I'm going to get myself get a DVD, man.
Very good. You
whatever.
Just
what are you doing from the library?
YouTube. Just type his name in YouTube and off you go.
Do you?
Yeah. Get
straight away.
Straight away, bang.
No problem. Well, I might do that tonight.
Yep.
Because that Glory Days and Dancing in the Dark. And
he's got a few hits. Born in East LA.
Born in the USA.
In the USA,
that's it,
yeah.
He's a very good guitarist too.
Yeah. He's a rocker. He's a rocker.
He's got the best band in the world behind him, E Street.
E Street band.
You ever seen him?
Yeah.
They've been with him for 30 years.
Good stuff. All right. Well, that's your impressions of Bruce.
Well,
got a bit excited there.
Well, I was very excited. Sitting there, I was watching it. I was clapping him.
Very good. So, any Cheerios?
Well, of course, there's Cheerios. Always Cheerios on this little channel. We're very sociable people, and PH, I got a phone call from him last week. He's going all right. He's getting very excited about coming down to Melbourne. Have a big reunion. Maxie rang up too. Hope you're watching this, Maxie. He's got my YouTube address now. Goes Maxie, Noz, Long John is John, and PH is Phil, and BP's me. We're going to have a big reunion, and the video camera will be there too next February.
Very good.
Won't be long.
Any other Cheerios?
Yeah, my little darling Annie and Carla, and I've got to mention Lloyder last week, for God's sake. Lloyder, Marlon, Joe Van, who's still in the wheelchair. He's not too flash, but he's going alright. Carla and Ariane and Jimmy, the cook.
Little Jimmy.
Hope everything's going alright in good old Longapo. And you know what Longapo is, don't you?
Yeah.
And who else I've got to... Is anybody else I've got to say to?
I'm not sure.
I think that's about all. Well, they're my favourites.
You've got all your different little favourites there. And a nice upbeat video today.
Well, there's plenty of variety today for the viewers out there all around the world.
People have been watching just recently. A few little hits on the...
Well, we've got 200 the last 10 days, Colin. A lot of the overseas, and I mean, that when I picked Australia to win the test, I think that got a lot of hits, so...
Yep.
It's good to see everybody's tuning into the Colin Sutcliffe and Barry Pinkton show.
Keep on tuning in.
And that's all from me this week.
That's goodbye from me.
Bye bye.